Hello everyone. In today's class, we have to see what is the circuit diagram of CE amplifier, what are all these blocks, like what is the use of these resistances, what they stands for, what is the purpose of them. All these things we have to see in detail. So this is a very basic explanation about what is the CE amplifier and how the circuit works. We know that to have an amplification, we have to bias your transistor into the active region. That means input junction is to be forward bias, and that is emitter base junction to be forward bias and collector base junction to be a reverse bias. Let us consider your common emitter amplifier circuit using a self bias or voltage divider bias. We know that there are different types of biasing which we are not going to detail discuss here. Only we know that this is called as a voltage divider biasing, wherein it consists of R1 and R2 voltage divider resistances, and this is a self bias RE resistor, and this is your RC. So now we can say that whenever you don't have any input signal applied, let us see first this what this component are. I can say this is the input which I'm going to give to my circuit. It is a AC input which is from input from the function generator. Okay, and this is the source resistance. Then this C1 is a coupling capacitance. Then I have a R1 and R2. This R1 and R2 called as a biasing resistors. This is RC, which is connected from the power supply to the collector, that is current limiting resistor. This RE, which is connected from emitter terminal to the ground, this is called as a stabilization resistor. And this CE, that is a bypass capacitor, it is connected in parallel with the stabilization resistor, and the output capacitor, which is again a coupling capacitor, right? So, and this is a DC power supply. So I have a AC power supply, I have a DC power supply. This is my coupling capacitances, this is my bypass capacitor, this is current limiting resistor, this is stabilization resistor, and this is a biasing resistor. Okay, so now we know that we have to bias your transistor in a such a way that when there is absence of any AC input signal, that means there is a no signal applied, or when there is a zero signal, your transistor to be biased in the active region, so that none of the portion of the signal get clipped off either to the positive or to the negative. That means your Q point conditions like your IBQ, ICQ, VCQ, VBQ, all this should be maintained to have the output obtained. So the DC biasing conditions, something like this, on that you are going to superimpose your AC signal, and that you are going to have the amplification at the output side. So this figure shows that this is your fusion point DC biasing conditions. On that you have superimposed your base signal with respect to current IB. Then, and we know that from the common emitter, that is IC equals to beta times of IB, right? So as IB increases, IC increases, and vice versa. If IB decreases, IC will be decreasing. So this is the output waveforms with respect to base current input and the collector current output. Now let us see what here in amplification what is happening is, we know that when one cycle of input is completed, right, then output also for one cycle has to get completed. That means what, the frequency of your output sinusoidal is same as the frequency of the input sinusoidal. That means if I completing this time period, I'll be getting completed output for the one complete cycle. That means there should not be any change in the frequency. Only in the amplification, the amplitude of the signal has to vary, but not the frequency of the output signal. That means the frequency of the input signal will be remain same as that of output signal. It means that, a simple example, if you are giving a 0.1 volts of input with a 1 kilohertz of frequency, then I want, when I give this to the amplifier, I should expect like this has to be increased by some value, let us say by 10. Okay, so let us say you got a 1 volts of output, and but the frequency will be remain same, that is of 1 kilohertz frequency. Okay, So amplification is known only to have the increase of a signal with respect to the magnitude, not with respect to the frequency. So now we will see how these components are, what is the use of or what is the role of this all component. Now, as I said, this resistor and R1 and R2, they performs the voltage divider biasing. Actually, we have to set the fixed input VBE to this base of the transistor so that your transistor will be operating in the, that is base to emitter junction will be in a forward bias. Now this R1 and R2 are selected in a such a way that a proper bias voltage of 0.7 volts will be given to the base of the transistor. So how we will be selecting the value of this R1 is generally R1 is greater than equals to 10 times of R2. Okay. So through this, as this you can see that this is connected to the power supply. That means from that we are going to get enough voltage over here with respect to ground, and that voltage will be applied to this. So this provides the biasing of for the transistor so that it operates in a active region. Then you can see that RC is a current limiting resistor, because directly if you connect the power supply to the collector terminal, there's a possibility that your collector will get damaged. That means you put together your transistor may get damaged if you give excess amount of voltage over here. That's the need of current limiting resistor. Now the very important resistor is this, that is RE. We know that we have this RE is called as a stabilization resistor. Why so? Because it provides the stability to your circuit. That means we know that with respect to the variation in the temperature or your beta value, or whenever you have a changes with your temperature, we know that your base current changes. Because of that your IC will get changed. Then we can say because of the temperature your reverse saturation current changes, therefore again your output changes. And if you, because of temperature, if your input voltage changes, definitely your output voltage is also going to be changed. And moreover, apart from this, if your beta changes, that means if you are replacing one transistor by another transistor, again your output is going to be changed, again it's going to vary. So that means we want our circuit to operate in a such a way that the output is irrespective of the variation with respect to the temperature or beta. So we want to have such a kind of circuit. So so that means we want a stability for the transistor, so that what are the changes you do at the input side with respect to because of temperature, your output shouldn't vary, and that stability is going to get provided by your biasing, by this stabilization resistor. Therefore it is called as stabilization resistor. How? Because if you, let us assume that you don't have this RE, then what happens is this collector terminal, emitter terminal is connected to the ground, right? So if at all, because of temperature, because of temperature your IB is increases. Because of temperature, if your IB increases, we know that your IC get increases, and when IC get increases, definitely you have biased your transistor to give a gain of, let us say 5 volts. Then what happens is, because of this you may get output of 7 volts. And if temperature decreases, again the reverse thing happens, like it is going to decrease to 3 volts, something like that. That means you are not getting a stable output, you are not getting a constant output. So to avoid that, what we are doing is we are connecting one resistor from the emitter terminal to the ground, so that some voltage drop will be there across this terminal, and the voltage drop across this terminal will give, let me draw here. What we know is your VBE. VBE was the base voltage, base to emitter voltage, which we are applying to the transistor. Now what is VBE? VB minus VE, right? So let us say your VB is a 1 volt, and your V earlier, when I said you don't have a resistor over here, that means V is 0. There is no voltage drop across your emitter terminal. So V is 0. So therefore your VB was equals to 1 volt, right? Now If because of temperature, we know that for every 10 degree rise in temperature, your reverse saturation current doubles, and for every 1 degree rise in temperature, your input voltage reduces by 2.5 millivolts. So let us say because of temperature, your voltage has, because of temperature, as temperature increases, your VBE reduces by 2.5 millivolts. So obviously, because of that, what happens, your VBE got, you are with less voltage. If I apply, let us say, instead of 1 volt, if I'm for 1 volt, let us say you are getting IC as a 10 milliamps, and VC equals to, let us say, 10 volts. Okay, so now the same amount of current and same amount of voltage I may get with less VBE, let us say 0.75 volts. Why? Because you have said you have temperature has increased. Because of that, with less VBE also, you are going to get the same value of this current and collector voltage, that is VCE. That means what? Ki, because of the temperature increases, your input has decreased by some value, but with the with the less amount of input voltage, you got the same current as like for 1 volt. That means, in short, I can say, whenever this happens, you are going to have a change of the biasing conditions of your transistor. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have this some resistance across the emitter terminal. This is your transistor, this is emitter terminal, and this is my ground. So now whenever temperature increases, your IB increases, your IC increases, and we know that I equals to IB plus IC. Let us say IB is, we know that IB is in microamps, so I can say IE is approximately equals to IC. So what are the changes I am having in IC? The same changes I will be having in my IE. So what is my V? Will be V equals to I into RE. So RE is a constant, RE is a constant. Now IC increased, your IE get increased, and because of that, your V will be increased. So let us say your earlier V was 0, that time VB was 1 volt. Now you have changed your, you got, because of temperature, your IB increased, your IC increased, and therefore IE increased, and because of that, the voltage across emitter terminal increase. So let us say it is now 0.5 volts. So I can see now that the input is VBE becomes 0.5 volts. So now, then how it affects me, we know that, what did I say earlier, you assume, you start your explanation like, you have a VB of 1 volt, you got IC of 10 milliamps and VC of 10 volts. Okay, now because of the increase in the temperature, what happens is, your output got shifted to, let us say, 20 milliamp and 20 volts. Okay, this is what, because of temperature got increased. This is what actually wanted. Now when you put this V, because of that, what happened is, your V got reduced, sorry, VB got reduced. When VB got reduced means, I can say your IB got reduced. When IB got reduced, your IC got reduced. Definitely, that means now here, by what value it got increased? Definitely by some or less, some or more, less or more value, you are going to get decrease in the output. So definitely you are going to reach to the same thing which you have wanted. That means, with the help of, by providing a resistance from the emitter terminal to the ground, you are going to get some voltage drop across this. Because of that, if there is an increase or decrease of the temperature, because of that, the base currents and collector currents are changing. The same effect you will be observing across the RE, and due to that, you are going to have some kind of compensation, and this compensation provides the stability for the transistor against your temperature variation. So that's the reason we call this resistor as a stabilization resistor. And definitely we can see that, as you are having RE over here and voltage drop over there, definitely this is going to provide me a negative feedback. And we know that in negative feedback, what happens is, the gain of the amplifier decreases. So there's a trade-off. When you want a gain to be increased, you have to sacrifice the stability, and vice versa. Okay. So in amplifiers, we'll be using a negative feedback so that you will get a stabilized gain, because gain can be increased by adding the number of stages. So that is the work of or use of RE in my CE circuit. Now you have the other components like C1, C2 and CE. Okay, so what is the work of this C? C is called as a bypass capacitor. Why so is, when you don't want this effect of this RE, you are going to have this C in parallel, and the value of the reactance of these capacitors is selected in a such a way that it provides a low reactance path compared to your RE. So what is the use of this? It will bypass all the high frequency components to the ground. Therefore, it is called as a bypass capacitor. And now the C1 and C2, they are the input and output coupling capacitances. The work of this capacitances is to block the DC which is coming from the input stage. The C1 is used to block the DC coming from the AC signal so that it will not disturb the biasing conditions of this transistor. And the work of this C2 is used to couple, the C2 is used to couple the output of the first stage to the input for the second stage, and whatever the DC comes from at the output of this first stage, that will get blocked by this capacitance. Therefore this output coupling capacitor is quite important, plays a quite important role in a multi-stage amplifiers. So and here we have to make sure that always this, you can see that the capacitor I have drawn something like this, right? This straight line indicates a positive sign, this curved line indicates a negative sign, and always you have to make sure that this negative terminal has to be at low potential than the positive terminal. So here I have connected this to my base terminal, to sorry negative I have connected to the RS, so that at DC equivalent, at DC equivalent I'll get this as grounded, and this positive will be connected to the base. So same thing here, it is a positive and here it is a negative. So that is the about polarity of the capacitors, and these are the what is the use of this capacitance. And one more thing, if you don't have this C1, if you don't have this C1, then what happens is this RAS, R1, R2, these three people will be coming in a parallel, and definitely again it is going to disturb the biasing condition of the transistor. So there is a must and should need of your C1 to be connected in between the RAS and biasing resistors R1 and R2. So this is about RS, R1, R2, C1, C2, CE. And now let us see, apart, as I said, the work of this capacitor to block the DC and all, apart from that, how it affects on my frequency response, that also we need to see. So what we know that this C, right, the capacitance, we know that the reactance of the capacitor is nothing but Xc is equals to 1 by 2 pi Fc. So let us see here, in case of that, Xc equals to 1 by 2 pi Fc. When we have done the experiment for C amplifier, and when we draw the frequency response of the C amplifier, we are going to get this kind of response. What it is a frequency, and this is the gain in dB. That means voltage, let us say AV. Okay, so now here I can see I got some constant gain for this middle range of frequency. I will call it as AV, and then I'll be doing minus 3 dB, which is nothing but 1 by root 2, or AV by root 2, which is nothing but 0.707 AV, right, which is equals to minus 3 dB. So now I'm going to draw the parallel line, and where it crosses, that I am marking as a lower frequency and the higher frequencies, and the or FL or FH, and this will be my bandwidth. So bandwidth is nothing but FH minus FL here, or F2 minus F1. So from this graph, what we say is, at lower frequency the gain is dropping to 0, and for high frequency the gain is dropping to 0, and for the middle range of frequency the output is high, constant, right? So now, why this roll off? Actually, what ideally we expect from the amplifier is, whatever the frequency change you do, you should get a constant output. Okay, constant AV. There should not be AV, any F1 or F2. It should be constant, but it is not happening. Why so? So this is nothing. The drop off or roll off at lower frequencies is due to this capacitor, external capacitor connected. How it is? We know that you are saying the frequency is low. Let us say f is 0 or a very small. Then what happens when f is 0? Xc is equals to 1 by 2 pi fc. 1 is 1 by 0. So I can say it is infinite and my capacitor will be a open circuit. When circuit is open, I will say my gain is dropping to 0. How? You see in this figure. You said that this is open, right? Means it is not connected. So when input is only not provided, what transistor will amplify? Nothing, right? So obviously your gain will be 0. Okay. So that means this roll off at lower frequency, it is because of the external capacitor connected to the circuit. And the again, why drop off or roll off at higher frequencies? This roll off at higher frequencies is because of the shunt capacitance or stray capacitance. What do you mean by shunt or stray capacitance? We know that in the transistor, this is base, this is emitter, collector. We have base to collector capacitance, we have base to emitter capacitance, we have collector to emitter capacitance, right? So we know that the concept of virtual capacitance in your diode and transistor. Virtual capacitance from collector to base, base to emitter, emitter to collector, and because of that what happens is you are going to get roll off at higher frequencies. That means what? At higher frequencies, that means Xc equals to 1 by 2 pi Fc. When F is high, that means Xc equals to 0. That means it is a closed circuit, right? So when it is high, that is closed circuit, what happens is this output is applied at the input side. All right, so because of that what you get is you will be having what negative feedback more and more in your circuit, and because of that your output is will be dropping to 0 again. So that means because of the shunt or stray capacitance you can have the uh, roll off at higher frequencies, and because of the external connected capacitance we have a roll off at the lower frequencies. So this is about the CE circuit almost in detail, and now you can see here I have drawn the waveforms. You can see for IB and IC they are of same phase, the input current and output current of same phase, because we know that IC equals to beta times of IB. And the next which I am drawing, which I have drew over here is, here this is your input voltage and this is your output voltage, which are out of phase, and we know that C amplifier is nothing but inverting amplifier. We call C amplifier as a inverting amplifier. That means what? When you apply a signal of this phase and you get the output to be 180-degree out of phase, then it is called as an inverting amplifier. And how I'm going to tell this, and this is nothing but also called as a phase reversal. Phase reversal concept. Okay, so what is phase reversal? We know that if you see the circuit and if you apply the KVL at the output side, I can say, what I can say is, VCC minus ICRC minus VCE equals to 0. So for the sake of simplicity, I have assumed that there is a no IE and there is a no CE. Okay, so if you put it, then also if you do only equation will be bigger, but anyhow they are same, and it will not affect much. So for the sake of simplicity, I have removed that IRE. You can write it IRE even here, and you can continue with the derivation. So here, now from this, what I can say is, let us take VC, that is output voltage. VC equals to VCC minus ICRC. This is what my output equation, right? So what I know, what is the relation between IB and IC? We know that beta equals to IC by IB. So what is IC? IC is beta times of IB. Now what we know is this VCC is a DC voltage which is a fixed, which is a constant. RC is also constant. Now what you are saying is, as your V in is changing, V in is increasing, that means that is VB is increasing, your IB increases, in turn your IC increases. That means earlier, let us say your VC is 12 volts, you have IC earlier of 1 milliamp, okay, or 1 amp simply for a simplicity, and your R is 1K, okay. So now 1 milliamp and 1K. So let us say you got this as a 1 and this as a 12. So what is my VC is 11. Now as I said, my VB increases, my IB increases and IC increases. So can I say now this 1 is going to be 2, then 3, then 4 and then 5, so on. Then what happens? 2 into 1 2, 2 3 into 1 3, 4 into 1 4, 5 into 1 5. So I can say my VCA earlier it was 11 volts, okay. Now as my input is increasing, then because of that, as VCC is a constant, my IC increases to 2 into 1, so I got 10 volts. Now if I substitute the values like this, I can see that I got the output less and less, right? That means my as my input is increasing, my output is decreasing, and that's why this is my VCQ and this is my VBQ, and because of this we are going to get a phase reversal in the CE amplifier. So this is all about the CE amplifier in detail. We have discussed what are all the components, what is their role, and how I'm going to get a phase reversal. Thank you.